Welcome to Man of Value, and today I'll discuss a topic which a lot of men blindside and pay less attention to. Let's get straight to the point. Some women will say things that should instantly set off alarm bells in your mind. Not every woman is worth your time, your energy, or your respect. The problem? Most men ignore the warning signs, thinking they can change her, reason with her, or worse, prove their worth. But let me tell you something. The moment a woman utters certain phrases, she's revealing her mindset, her expectations, and most importantly, whether she sees you as a man to be respected or as a tool to be used. You need to understand that women communicate differently than men. While men tend to be direct, women often reveal their true intentions in subtle ways, through words, attitudes, and expectations. And if you don't know how to listen, you'll find yourself trapped in relationships that drain you, manipulate you, and break you down as a man. That's exactly why today's topic is so important. There are certain statements a woman will say that should make you walk away immediately. No hesitation, no second chances. Because these phrases are not just words, they are warnings. They reveal a mindset that can lead you down a path of frustration, weakness, and regret. And let's be clear, this is not about hating women. This is about knowing when to protect yourself as a man. This is about self-respect. Too many men have lost years of their lives trying to make a woman happy who was never going to respect them in the first place. They've sacrificed their goals, lost their confidence, and even questioned their own value. All because they ignored the early warning signs. But that stops today. In this video, I'm going to break down 5 specific things a woman might say that should make you turn around and walk away without looking back. Some of these might surprise you, some might challenge what you've been taught, but I guarantee you every single one of them is a red flag that you cannot afford to ignore. So, if you're tired of wasting your time on women who don't appreciate you, if you're ready to start recognizing the signs before it's too late, then stay with me. Because what I'm about to share could save you from months, even years of frustration. Let's get into it. 1. I don't need a man. The moment a woman says, I don't need a man, pay close attention. That's not just a statement, it's a mindset. And that mindset will make any relationship with her a constant battle. This is the kind of woman who sees men as optional rather than valuable, and that's dangerous for any man who wants respect, appreciation, and partnership. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with a woman being independent. A high-value man actually wants a woman who can stand on her own 2 feet. But there's a massive difference between a woman who is independent and a woman who constantly pushes the narrative that men are useless. A woman who truly respects and values men won't feel the need to make a big statement about how much she doesn't need one. Women who say this often have something to prove, to themselves, to society, or even to you. Maybe she's been hurt in the past and built this belief as a defense mechanism. Maybe she's been influenced by modern culture that encourages women to dismiss men entirely. Either way, what you need to understand is this. A woman who believes she doesn't need a man will never respect one. And if there's no respect, the relationship is already dead before it even begins. Now, let's talk about what this actually looks like in real life. A man starts dating a woman who proudly tells him, I don't need a man to be happy. At first, he thinks nothing of it, but as time goes on, he notices the little things. She never values his input. She constantly challenges his decisions, not because she disagrees, but just to prove she doesn't rely on him. She refuses to let him lead, disregards his efforts, and anytime he tries to step up as a man, she reminds him that she doesn't need him. Eventually, he realizes he's not in a relationship. He's in a competition. He's trying to be valuable to a woman who has already convinced herself that men bring no real value. And that's a losing game. Here's the reality. A woman who sees men as unnecessary will never fully embrace what a good man brings to the table. She will always have one foot out the door, convinced she can do everything on her own. But as a man of substance, you should never waste time trying to prove your worth to a woman who refuses to see it. Walk away. A woman who truly values men will show it, not just with words, but with actions. 2. My ex was toxic. When a woman tells you, my ex was toxic, Your first instinct might be to feel sorry for her, maybe even step in as the good guy to treat her better. But before you do that, take a step back. This statement might not mean what you think it does. Of course, some men are toxic. There are bad relationships, bad experiences, and real victims. But when a woman constantly blames her ex for everything that went wrong without ever mentioning her own role, you need to see the red flag waving in front of you. A woman who refuses to take accountability for her past is likely to repeat the same toxic patterns in her future relationships. Think about it. If every ex she's had was a narcissist, manipulator, or abuser, what does that say about her? Either she has a pattern of choosing bad men, which shows poor judgment, or she's rewriting history to avoid accountability. And if she never admits fault in her past relationships, what do you think will happen when things go wrong with you? She'll paint you as the next toxic guy and move on like she's the victim. Now, let's break this down with a real scenario. A man starts dating a woman who frequently talks about how terrible her ex was. At first, he sympathizes. He even reassures her that he's different. But as time goes on, he notices something strange. Anytime they have an argument, she refuses to accept blame. If he points out something she did wrong, she twists it to make herself look like the innocent one. And worst of all, she keeps bringing up her ex as a way to justify her own bad behavior. For example, if he expresses a boundary, she fires back with, "My ex was controlling like that too." If he calls her out on disrespect, she says, "You sound just like him." Before he realizes it, he's constantly walking on eggshells, afraid of being labeled as the next toxic man in her life. This is what happens when a woman refuses to own her mistakes. She carries them into every new relationship and plays the same role, the victim. And if she's always the victim, that means you will always be the villain. A high-value woman will acknowledge both sides of a failed relationship. She'll say, "Things didn't work out with my ex and I've learned from it." That's the kind of woman who grows, takes responsibility, and avoids repeating mistakes. But a woman who only blames her ex, she's just waiting for another man to take the fall. Walk away before you become her next story. 3. I want a man who can handle me. Ever heard a woman say, "I need a man who can handle me"? At first, it might sound like a playful challenge, like she's daring you to prove you're strong enough to be with her. But let's be clear, this is not a compliment. When a woman says this, she's not looking for a strong, confident man. She's looking for someone who will tolerate her difficult behavior without holding her accountable. It's a warning, not an invitation. She's telling you up front that she's going to bring chaos. And instead of working on herself, she expects you to adjust. Now ask yourself, why should a man ever have to handle a woman? A relationship isn't supposed to be an obstacle course where you constantly prove your strength by putting up with unnecessary drama. A high-value man doesn't handle women. He leads, builds, and creates peace in his life. But when a woman says this phrase, she's already telling you that peace is the last thing she's bringing to the table. The problem with this mindset is that it turns relationships into a power struggle instead of a partnership. Instead of mutual respect, it becomes a constant test of how much nonsense you're willing to endure. And here's the dangerous part. The more you tolerate, the less respect she'll have for you. She'll push, test, and create conflict just to see if you'll stay. If you do, she won't see you as strong. She'll see you as weak for not setting boundaries. And let's flip the script for a second. Imagine if a man told a woman, "I need a woman who can handle me." What would that sound like? It would sound like a walking red flag. A man who's difficult, full of problems, and unwilling to change. No woman would find that attractive. And yet, when some women say it, they expect men to step up and prove themselves by putting up with behavior no one should tolerate. A woman who respects men doesn't need to be handled. She doesn't view relationships as a test of strength, but as a space for trust, cooperation, and effort from both sides. She doesn't create chaos just to see if you'll stick around. She values peace just as much as you do. So here's the truth. When a woman says she needs a man who can handle her, what she's really saying is, I want to be difficult, and I expect you to put up with it. That's not a relationship. That's emotional labor. And no man of value should ever waste his time proving himself to a woman who sees him as a challenge instead of a partner. Walk away. A woman worth your time won't need to be handled. She'll know how to respect and appreciate you without making it a fight. 4. You're insecure for thinking that. There's a tactic some women use when they don't want to be held accountable. It's called shaming you into silence. And one of their favorite phrases for this, you're insecure for thinking that. If you ever question something, set a boundary, or express a concern, and she responds by attacking your confidence, you need to pay attention. Because this isn't just a random comment, it's a manipulation technique designed to make you doubt yourself instead of addressing the real issue. High-value men understand that having standards isn't insecurity. Wanting respect isn't insecurity. Feeling uncomfortable about certain behaviors isn't insecurity. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It shows self-respect and an awareness of what you deserve. But when a woman doesn't want to be called out, she'll flip the script and make you the problem. Think about it. You express a concern, and instead of engaging in an honest conversation, she instantly puts the blame on you. Now you're the one defending yourself, explaining why you're not insecure, rather than discussing the actual issue. That's intentional. Because the moment she makes you question yourself, she no longer has to answer to anything. And the worst part? Many men fall for it. They start thinking, maybe she's right, maybe I am overreacting, maybe I shouldn't say anything. And just like that, their voice in the relationship is silenced. They stop expressing themselves, stop enforcing boundaries, and start walking on eggshells just to avoid being labeled insecure. But let's be clear, this isn't confidence on her part. A woman who respects you won't dismiss your feelings. She won't shut you down the moment you try to communicate. Instead, she'll listen, engage, and work through things like a mature adult. But the moment a woman starts using words like "you're insecure" to dodge accountability, you need to understand what's happening. She's avoiding the real conversation. This isn't about being overly sensitive or reading too much into things. It's about recognizing when you're being manipulated. A high-value man doesn't allow himself to be gaslit into doubting his own standards. He stands firm, communicates with clarity, and refuses to let emotional tricks weaken his position. You need to recognize the pattern. The moment you bring up an issue, she immediately makes you question yourself. Instead of explaining her actions or considering your perspective, she flips it on you. This is emotional warfare. If she can make you feel like your feelings aren't valid, then she wins without ever having to change. So, if a woman constantly invalidates your concerns by calling you insecure, understand this. She doesn't respect you, and she doesn't want to be questioned. That's not a woman you build with. That's a woman you walk away from. 5. Other men want me. When a woman says other men want me, she's not just making a casual statement, she's testing you. She wants to see how you'll react. Will you get jealous? Will you start competing for her attention? Or will you stay calm and show her that you don't chase validation? A woman who truly respects you doesn't feel the need to remind you that other men are interested in her. She already knows her worth, and she doesn't use it as a tool to manipulate or control you. But when a woman throws this line in your face, she's doing it for one of two reasons. One, she's seeking validation. She wants to feel desired, not just by you, but by everyone. She thrives on male attention and needs constant reassurance that she's wanted. This kind of woman will never be satisfied with just one man because she craves external validation more than real connection. 2, she's testing your reaction. She wants to see if she can make you insecure. If you start acting jealous or trying to prove that you're better than other men, she wins. She now knows she has control over your emotions. A high-value man never falls into this trap. A woman who respects you won't try to make you feel replaceable. She won't use other men as a bargaining chip to make you work harder for her attention. But if she does, it's a major red flag. You're out with a woman and things are going well. The conversation is flowing and there's clear chemistry. Then, out of nowhere, she casually says, "You know, I get hit on all the time. Guys are always trying to take me out." Now, a low-value man might take the bait. He might start asking, "Oh yeah, Who's hitting on you? Or even worse, well, I'm sure I'm better than them. He's now competing for her approval, and she knows she has him wrapped around her finger. But a high-value man, he doesn't react. He might just smirk and say, "That's nice." Or if he really wants to make a statement, he'll reply with, "Good for them. Let's see if they can keep up." He makes it clear he's not fazed and he's not competing. When a woman plays these games, she's showing you that she values attention over loyalty. And if she values attention more than she values you, she's not the kind of woman you want in your life. A woman who truly respects and desires you won't try to make you feel like an option. She'll make you feel like a priority. Walk away. Let the other men have her. A high-value man doesn't compete, he chooses. 6. Real men do this. If a woman ever says, "Real men do this," you need to stop and ask yourself, who decided what a real man is? Because 9 times out of 10, this phrase isn't about true masculinity. It's a manipulation tactic to shame you into doing what she wants. The moment a woman starts dictating what a real man should do, she's pushing her own agenda. She's trying to put you in a box, one where you sacrifice your standards, your boundaries, and sometimes even your self-respect, just to prove that you're man enough. But here's the truth. A real man doesn't take orders from someone who doesn't even understand masculinity. And this is where a lot of men fail. Too many guys fall for this nonsense because they've been conditioned to believe that their worth is defined by how well they cater to women's expectations. Some men are out here bending over backward, jumping through hoops, and compromising their values just to avoid being told they're not a real man. Wake up. If a woman has to remind you to be a man, she doesn't respect you. A high-value man doesn't need a woman's validation to confirm his masculinity. He stands firm in his own identity, and he doesn't let emotional manipulation dictate his actions. Let's be clear. This phrase is never used to genuinely uplift men. You won't hear a woman say, "Real men focus on their purpose," or "Real men take care of their mental and emotional well-being." No, it's always something that benefits her. It's always, "Real men pay for everything," or "Real men tolerate a strong woman." In other words, do what I want, or you're not a real man. And the worst part? Some men fall for it. They start overcompensating, thinking that by proving themselves they'll earn her respect. But respect isn't given to the man who chases approval. It's given to the man who sets the tone and refuses to be controlled by guilt trips. So here's the reality. Being a real man has nothing to do with meeting a woman's expectations. It has everything to do with being authentic, strong, and self-sufficient. A real man doesn't allow himself to be manipulated into submission. He makes his own decisions, stands by them, and doesn't need anyone's permission to embrace his masculinity. The next time a woman tells you what a real man should do, don't argue, don't defend yourself, just walk away. Because the moment you start justifying your masculinity to her, you've already lost. 7. If you don't do this, I'll find someone who will. When a woman says, "If you don't do this, I'll find someone who will," she's not just making a statement, she's revealing her entire mindset. This is pure manipulation and entitlement. She's not looking for a relationship based on mutual respect, she's looking for a transaction. If you don't meet her demands, she'll replace you like a disposable item. And here's where a lot of men get it wrong. Instead of recognizing this as a massive red flag, they panic. They start bending over backward, doing whatever it takes to keep her happy. But let me ask you, why would you ever want to keep a woman who sees you as replaceable? A high-value man never allows himself to be controlled by ultimatums. This phrase is a test, and how you respond will define the entire dynamic of your relationship. If you cave in and start doing what she wants, she now knows that she can get her way by threatening to leave. And guess what? It won't stop here. Today, it's a small request. Tomorrow, it's something bigger. Before you know it, you've lost all control in the relationship and she's running the show. A woman who respects you won't feel the need to issue threats to get what she wants. She'll communicate like an adult, express her needs, and have an actual conversation. But a woman who uses ultimatums is playing a game of power. She wants to see if she can make you chase. And if you do, you're proving her right. This is where most men need to wake up. Too many guys operate from a scarcity mindset. They think, if I don't give her what she wants, she'll leave and I'll be alone. But here's the reality. If a woman threatens to leave over something trivial, let her go. She was never truly invested in you in the first place. A woman who values you will never try to force your hand like this. And let's be real. Do you honestly think a woman who constantly issues ultimatums is someone you can build a strong relationship with? If she's quick to say, I'll find someone else, then she's already thinking about other options. She's not loyal to you. She's loyal to what you provide. So the next time a woman tries to control you with this line, don't argue, don't plead, and definitely don't compromise your values. Just look at her, nod, and say, go ahead, and watch how quickly the dynamic shifts, because a man who's willing to walk away is a man who cannot be controlled. So a woman who truly respects you will never need to test you, manipulate you, or make you feel like you have to prove your worth. If she does, she's already showing you that she doesn't see you as a man, she sees you as someone to control. And the second you allow it, you've already lost. Here's what most men don't realize. You don't have to tolerate this. The moment a woman starts using these phrases, she's challenging you to see if you'll break. And too many men fall for it, thinking they need to comply to keep the peace. But real peace comes from knowing your value and walking away from anyone who doesn't respect it. The truth is, if she's willing to test you, she's willing to replace you. And if she's willing to replace you, she never truly valued you in the first place. So don't argue, don't negotiate, just walk away. That's the ultimate power move. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with a woman who pulled these tricks? Drop a comment below. I'll be checking them out and responding. Let's have a real discussion. If you're looking to take a deeper dive into these concepts, join my Podia community, link in the description. It's packed with powerful insights to help you master your masculinity in today's dating world. Stay strong, stay focused, and protect your power. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Till tats.